Ciao, buongiorno, ragazzi. It is not the most pleasant of podcasts. It's a disappointing result against Juventus. It's a disappointing result after such a week in limbo that's happened with the Italian media and whatnot, with playing behind closed doors in Seria. But to get through it all, I'm joined by two of my favorites in Alessandro and Bruno. So, ciao, Alessandro, come stai?
Ciao a tutti. I'm good. Surviving. How are you?
Good. Very good, brother. Very good. And Bruno, how are you, my man?
Look, can't be too happy, but ready to get on with it, guys. So let's get straight into it.
Let's get straight into it. Let's get on with it. We lose 2-0 to Juventus behind closed doors. No nothing, no atmosphere. To me, I'll start. The game felt dead. I woke up with I was so demotivated for this game. I look forward to these fixtures more than anything. The matches against Juventus, against Milan, and I just woke up feeling deflated. And I don't know. I guess the mood was reflected in the result. I thought the first half wasn't too bad. Brozovic and Ashley Young were doing their thing, and a lot of people are bashing the strikers, and I agree. The strikers were very invisible, but I don't like to say this. Juventus defensively were very, very strong. They just seemed as though they overpowered our attack with ease in the final third, like it was just ping pong to them, and they were superior to us defensively. And our midfield, while it looked okay at times, I think Antonio Conte could have thrown Christian Eriksen not only in from the start, but a lot earlier than he could have, because Vecino, to me, while he's good when he grabs a goal here and there and can produce a moment of magic, he just doesn't offer much for 80% of the match. And Juventus got 2 goals, not necessarily because they were better, but because they just had all the ball, all the chances. Dybala's moment of world classness, you can't script that. That's Dybala all around, and the fact that they can bring on a sub like him for Douglas Costa once again shows their depth. And Conte said it in his post-match interview. He goes, we compare our results this season to teams like this, because at the end of the day, we've only lost 3 games in Seria, and 2 of them have come against Juventus. And he said that they've got quality in depth through and through, and they do. And that's where we were outclassed today. So at the end of the day, we need to cop the result on the chin, and we'll talk a little bit more about expectations soon. But over to you, Bruno, your take on the result against Juventus.
Look, they're not top of the league for no reason. They're top of the league because they rightly deserve to be there, whether it's refereeing or whatever. They're fantastic performers through and through. And at the end of the day, I just think Inter became very unmotivated in the second half, and I've been told, and I seem to agree. Everyone's worked Inter out now. Everyone knows what to expect. When was the last time we got a goal within 15 minutes of starting? It's sort of lackluster, and you know what? Yeah, our strikers were invisible, but that's because I just feel there was no one in the midfield that had that creativeness to it. And we saw when Alexis came on and Eriksen came on that it was it sort of changed it, but it was a little too late. I feel Conte waits too long to make these substitutions. I expected a 45-minute substitution in the start of the second half, take Lautaro off or drop him back behind Lukaku just to add that depth to the midfield, because we're losing the ball non-stop. And, there was a period for about 15 minutes after they scored that first goal that I think the only time the ball left Inter's half was when Juventus decided to pass it back. It was pretty lackluster in my eyes. Overall, it was pretty disappointing performance from some of our key men. I didn't even realize Barella was on the field that second half. They were honestly man marked out of the game. And when you got the players like Higuain drawing defenders, Ronaldo, of course, and then you bring the Dybala on. You need to stand firm, and I feel Ashley Young lacked a bit in defence this morning. And look, no point pointing the finger at the players. They went out there to do the best that they could, but at the end of the day, Conte's got to understand he loves this formation more than anything, but something's got to give. The commentators were spot on. Ericsson, why did he buy him if he doesn't fit into this formation? And you know what, you're spending 20 million on a player who's worth at least 65. You'd expect at least something to come through of it. And you know, he's got to alter something because it's starting to impact us now. We beat Ludogorets, who, you know, many would argue are nobody, but our last 3 games are 3 losses on the road. We lost to Lazio, we lost to Napoli, and ultimately we've lost to Juventus. Are we out of the title race? I don't think so. There's still 12 games to go. If we beat Sampdoria whenever that game ever gets played, it's really 6 points between first and third. All it takes is 2 games. So I'm not going to say we're out of it, but I think you hit the nail on the head, Anthony. Is it time to change our goals for the season? What do you think, Ale?
Okay, so I have so many things to say, and I'm so pissed off. I'll try to be concise. So, first of all, probably was my bad because I expect the games versus Juventus for the whole season is big game for me. And this couple of weeks, I was wearing a different jersey, Inter jersey every day, just expecting for today. And then today, the players didn't show. Nobody. Maybe one, I can say one. I don't want to name names, but everybody was awful. Nobody was playing. There was no intensity. There was no. We were just 11 goals following the ball, and that's it. And it sucks because we're playing versus a Juventus that is not so much better than us. Probably their best player today was Cuadrado, and that's all saying. I'm not talking about Dybala because Dybala entered the second half, changed the game, is just on another level. But at the start, if you look at the first half, and if that's the best player, I'm sorry, but we don't deserve anything this season. First of all, I'm just pissed. I'm not saying that our goal was to go to Juventus, to Torino, and win the game for nothing, but at least play the game. You know, at least show up and do something. And nobody was there with the head. I don't know if it was because the stadium was empty. I don't know if because they're worried or something, because they had 2 weeks of no no games. I don't know what the reason is, but I expect more from them as professionals, and I expect more from Conte to give those directions, those willing to fight. Uh, After all of this, what is our expectation? I don't know. At this point, I'm not so optimistic. I don't think we're gonna win the Scudetto. I don't think we're gonna get close to compete anymore because 6 points versus Lazio, that every game in one way or another is able to win, and that's amazing. And these Juventus that even when they don't want to win, they win. I don't know. I think at the end of the year, I'm gonna be happy that we are in the 3rd position, but way closer than the previous years, and that's a good first step. But at the same time, The thing I want to see from now to the end is Conte working with these new players and the player we're gonna have. Meaning trying to create something with Ericsson, because I mean I really like Ericsson, the Ericsson that we have seen at Tottenham, but this Ericsson is a totally different player. He doesn't defend the ball, he doesn't cover, he doesn't come back. He just, I don't know if he's trying to understand Conte's style, or if he's trying to create some connection with the other players. I don't know what the problem is, but this player is is not the Ericsson we're used to now. And I don't know what the problem is, but it needs to be fixed. Because I'm not saying we need to be the team around him, but certainly we need to keep Ericsson and Lukaku and the right at the center of the next year. Um, and I think I need to give the Anthony, please take it away, because otherwise I can't keep going on and on.
Well, I think Ericsson will definitely get his chance when he starts starting games more consistently. Like January transfers are always transfers that are hard to integrate, especially with managers that are really like stubborn, and Conte's about as stubborn as they come. So regardless of, I definitely think Conte wanted Ericsson. There's a lot of fans that are conspiratorial and say, oh, Conte didn't want him, but of course he wanted him. Conte's the kind of coach that has to approve these players before they are purchased. So whether he's trying to slowly integrate him or not, we've seen that players get the nod in these. By get the nod, I mean they get the approval in these bigger fixtures. Like Candreva could not start a couple of games, but he'll play against Juventus or he'll play against Milan, and because he's got that experience there as well. Vecino has become one of those players. He's become a big game kind of player, the kind of player that you can bank on scoring a goal or coming up big, as he's done in the derby in the past. So him getting the nod in this fixture over Ericsson did not surprise me. But I agree, Alessandro. I want to see Ericsson start. I want to see him in that trequartista role. I want to see him just in front of the two midfielders, whether it be Brozovic and Barella or Brozovic and Sensi, which, by the way, I want to talk a little bit about Sensi. But I do want to see Ericsson start more. I agree. Before we move on to the next match, I do want to talk about Sensi. Bruno, injured, not in the squad again today. There's rumours that we're still very close to organising his fee. Are you still all for Stefano Sensi, or would you second guess him now? Because just keep in mind, bro, we had a very, very long break. Yeah, we played Ludogorets and whatever, but he got frozen out of that for Europa League because, the tie, generally, it was easy to pass. Sensi, what's going on, man?
Look, they're worrying. I got a injury update on him prior to the Lazio game, and he just wasn't 100% fit at that point in time. Just looking at it now, having a look at the current squad notes they've released. You have a look, and his expected return is mid-March. He did pick up that foot injury in February. I'm not sure who it was against, but it was it was in training. In saying that, surely his values declined. Surely his value declined, because I remember the last time he did play properly was against Sampdoria, right before we faced Juventus last season, and he got injured. I think it was first part of the season, and he got injured. I think it was 12, 15 minutes into the fixture, and that's what caused the decline of Sensi from that point on. Look, he's a great value player, but being young, it just makes me think: is he lacking confidence now? Is he going to be too cautious? Is he scared? Is he one of those players who's just going to have that glass body where you touch him, there's another injury? I don't know. He's still very young. I was very excited to see him in the upcoming Euros. But just before we move on, another point that I'd like to bring up just before we move on to Sassuolo and Getafe. So I was up last night in Sydney. It was 10:30 at night, ready to watch Spal and Parma, and it got delayed. And the Seria community lost their mind. Why did it get delayed? The players were literally in the tunnel, and they turned around, walked back in. The players who were already sitting on the bench got up, walked back in. So there is the Players Federation, and I've just really come to fruition in regards to all of this today and all the ins and outs of it all. So the Players Federation has actually got a signed document from some certain players of different clubs requesting the suspension of the Seria. Lack of funding can cause clubs to go bankrupt. Lack of, playing, having to pay wages but not having that revenue from ticket sales can cause clubs to go into very bad financial strife. And the reason for the Spal delay was that the sports minister announced that they will be discussing a suspension of the league this week. Now, the referees misinterpreted it, saying the league was suspended. So, as someone did say, Seria can't organise a ruffle. But it still comes to mind, what happens. Now, there are rumours going around. What happens if the season does get suspended? Who wins the title? Well, the idea is no one wins the title. People are saying, well, who was on top of the league the last time all the teams were on the same points? No, it does not work like that. Especially considering the last time all the teams were on the same points, there would have been roughly 15 games remaining in the season. So if the Serie A is suspended, it is likely that there will be other leagues following suit. General standings will remain. It will be a null and void title, but the top four will progress to the Champions League and the Europa League, everything, and relegation will continue as per usual. So Genoa getting those points this morning against Milan may have saved them. Now, I don't think the Serie A has been suspended since a world war, right? So it's obviously something serious, and I did read that overnight there was another 1,000 coronavirus cases confirmed in Italy, with several hundred more people dead. So it is something serious. And just before we move on to other topics, because you know what, I'm sorry, Anthony, we've done podcasts over and over again for different matches, for different things, and they've been a waste because we haven't played them. But guys, just all of our Inter fans and just all Serie A and football fans in general, you got to remember, okay, yes, sport's a form of entertainment. We are very passionate, but at the same time, both the health of fans, players, and communities comes first. And if that means, unfortunately, this season's a dead rubber, look, a lot of teams would be spewing. Lazio, they're having their best season in a very long time. Juventus, up and down, but they've been very competitive. But you gotta remember, health is number one. And yeah, look, we may have some breaking news coming out later this week, so let's see what happens there. Anyway, let's put a smiling face on. Anthony, what's next on the agenda?
All right, well, we'll go to Alessandro next, because you got to remember, we've got a game around the corner. It's going to be bang, bang from here over and over again. The fixtures are going to pile up. Getafe is next in the Europa League, and it's the first leg, and it looks like that's going to be played behind closed doors as well, both legs. So the fans better get used to it. And if what Bruno is saying is true and Liga Serie A is going to cancel their games, then obviously UEFA cancels their games as well, because, double standards, triple standards, whatever you want to call it. So Alessandro, we're going to go into a very weird situation in about 5 days' time, 4 days' time, whatever it is, where we play Getafe. Your thoughts going into that game, man? How do you like our chances in the first leg and the tie overall?
So when I found out that Getafe was the team we got from the Europa League draw, was a little bit disappointing. Was one of the two teams I didn't want to, so you can imagine. But you know what? If you want to get to the final, we need to beat them. So this is gonna be somehow different from the Juventus game. Probably the expectation are gonna be lowered, and hopefully that's good for us. But all in all, Getafe is a very difficult team to play against. They have different ways to get to score. It's not they're not just how do you say, one pony trick. So I, I I think we need to play with pretty much the same formation we had uh, tonight or yesterday, depends where you are, and hopefully with different motivations, because that's the main key. It doesn't matter who plays, it matter how and with which mentality. That's the main difference, because honestly, our team right now, the level of the players is pretty much the same. Whoever plays, it's pretty good players, but they need to focus and they need to actually put 100%. Um, if they do that, it doesn't matter who they play against in this Europa League. It could be Getafe, it could be Manchester United, it can be whoever, and they should be able to beat it. I think at this point, we are the team to beat, and that's it. What do you think?
Nice. I actually like that, man. I think you saying that we're the team to beat. I think teams are looking at us thinking, we are still a team that has improved a lot. Let's put this season in context. At the end of the day, Juventus are a better side than us, and we have lost these games this season against sides that are better than us. Look at the opponents that we've taken L's to. It's not, they're not average sides, they're good sides. But I go into this fixture feeling quite confident, but we need to perform well at home. This is one of these fixtures where your home leg really, really plays the part. If you can get a good result at home, you go through in the next tie. Because if you can't do your business at home, going away to Getafe in a season where Alessandro just said they have been very good, they have played good attacking football, they've had some big results. They knocked Ajax 2-0. They've been pretty good at the end of the day, and they were able to progress to the next round. And they probably are one of the tougher opponents to go up against. In terms of playing what players to play against them, we will come up against Sassuolo of only about 4 days after that, 3 days after that, whatever you want to call it again. So we're going to have to think about who we're going to play and who's fit and who needs to take rest. So I think that's a game that Eriksen will start. To piggyback off the last conversation that we had, Eriksen will get the nod in the match against Getafe, and he'll probably perform and do his thing again. So once again, we need to get a good result at home, and we are home in the first leg. So Bruno, quickly, since I've discussed squad and Alessandro has discussed his take, just give us your prediction. What do you think is going to happen in the first leg, bro?
Oh, look, this isn't like a normal Europa Cup game. Both games played behind closed doors. So at the end of the day, home result, the home fixture really does not hold any benefit whatsoever. It wouldn't surprise me if this match is played at a different stadium anyway. But I can't see Inter not putting something on for Getafe, and I can't see them not coming away with the win this time round. Critically, I'd love to get a 2-0 win at home, just because it means they need to score two at their home, and essentially, if we put one in, it's almost game over. They got to go 4 goals. So I would love to see a 2-0 win, especially with the driven and motivated Conte. When his back's up against the wall is when you do not want to face him. And I remember how, he's very much like Pep Guardiola. He came off a loss, and I think they thrashed, I forget which team it was, 9-0 or 7-0 in the Premier League earlier this season. And you know what? I can't see Conte doing that sort of wrath in regards to scoring, 5, 6, 7 goals. But I do see them dominating and having a great performance. 2-0 is my prediction. Shouldn't be an issue. Hopefully we can avoid, any nil result. where they do not score is a good result for Inter. That's where I'm going to leave it. Now, we move on to face Sassuolo this week, and they have been our bogey team as of late. Anthony, what's your opinion, and how do you think we're going to go and line up against the boys?
So Sassuolo, yes, our bogey team as of late, but we knocked them 4-3 this season in a game where I was way too relaxed at 4-1. A double for Lautaro and Lukaku each, and a goal for Berardi as well for Sassuolo. They will be tough. We are at home, though, I believe. Can you just confirm that, Bruno? We're at home, right? Or Alessandro? Yes, we are. Never mind. I just checked it. Yes, we are. Awesome. We are at home. Thank God for that. So this fixture, I do expect the boys to come out firing. I do expect anyone who backs up from the Getafe game, which will most likely be players along the lines of De Vrij, Skriniar, Brozovic, Lukaku, and maybe Lautaro Barella as well. These are the players that may have to back it up twice in the space of 4 days. So I expect the boys to be tired, but I do expect them to get 3 points. I expect us to go on from here and still get a few comfortable wins together in Seria, because at the end of the day, we've still got business to do. We've still got stuff to take care of in terms of qualifying for the Champions League as soon as possible, and just making sure that we've got no stress on our back while we do well in cup football. So going into the Sassuolo match, I expect us to line up very strongly. It's good to have Handanovic back. I know he conceded 2 goals today, but he was actually quite good. He did make a few good saves today. And I just want to put it out there. It's funny that Padelli actually did get sent off today, even though he wasn't on the pitch. And because there were no fans in the stadium and it was mic'd up, you could actually hear him. And it was actually pretty funny. So go check it out if you haven't. We'll line up with De Vrij, Skriniar. Godin will probably be back because Bastoni got the nod this week in Serie A. So Godin, unless he starts against Getafe and rests again, he'll probably get in there. Midfield will be Brozovic, Barella, probably Vecino. Gagliardini came on for a little bit today, so let's just make the assumption that he's fit again, and let's just not see if he doesn't get unfit again. And then Lukaku, Lautaro will start up top, although I'm starting to think that Alexis Sanchez should maybe start from the beginning in one of these 2 fixtures, definitely. Alexis will probably start against Getafe, so you can almost guarantee Lautaro will start against Sassuolo. So that's it for me. Alessandro, what about Sassuolo, man? I know it's 2 fixtures away, but what do you think?
It's gonna be tough. But as you said, I pretty much agree with you 100%. So I expect a positive result. I don't know, probably 2-0 or 2-1, but certainly a victory. Hello?
Yeah, cool. Easy, nice and easy. In terms of what else is going on, I just wanted to talk a tiny bit before we finish off about the fixture congestion. So we've got a lot of games that are coming up soon. We've played 25 matches in Serie A. We've got still a fair few games to go. It's easy to remember that it's still also March. In terms of the players and the longevity of this season, I actually had a question sent in from my mate Anthony. His name's Anthony as well. And he said, if you were to name one Inter player that you'd fear to go missing for the rest of the season by injury, who would it be? I'm like, bro, that's actually a pretty dark question, but you know what? I'll ask it anyway. So, Bruno, you got to pick one player on our squad. This is the only question for the podcast. If
Who do you think?
Who do I think? Oh, why do you have to throw it on me first? I'm thinking. All right, it's got to be. To be honest, for me, it's got to be Marcelo Brozovic, man. I think when we lose him, the entire engine breaks down. The entire focal point of the engine breaks down, and I think we could lose De Vrij and be okay. I guess we can lose Handanovic and be okay. We can lose one of Lautaro and Lukaku and be okay. But you lose Brozovic, and the engine breaks down. You're next, Bruno.
Look, I think that overall, we lost Honda. We had 2 losses. 2 losses that we did not need at all, and he was pivotal. We've gone a couple of games without Martinez. No major impact there. Brozovic got a yellow for. I think De Vrij is critical. You lose him. He's been the cornerstone, the foundation of our defense at the back since Conte's come in. So overall, if I didn't have to say Handanovic, because we saw what we're up against, and now if he did get injured this morning, we're stuffed because Pradeli got a red card. So Bernie's coming into the squad. But yeah, it definitely have to be the Frey. Who do you think, Ale?
I would go with Handanovic for the reason you just said. I mean, two games and we lost both, and it's not just. I mean, we saw what Padelli quality is at the moment, and we don't have any backup basically. So at this moment in time,
Let me
for
just
sure,
say, halftime. Yeah, but at halftime this morning, if Pradeli was in goals, would we still be 0-0?
No, we were losing 2-0 probably.
For sure.
Because Handanovic did a couple of saves, one on the corner kick, and the leaked hit it, and then the other one was, I think, Cristiano Ronaldo coming in from the left wing, and again Handanovic saved it. So that would be like 2-0. That's it.
Yeah, and definitely, and he's our captain, and you know what? I don't like saying this name on our podcast, but Mauro Icardi was our captain. But when he was our captain, he did a very terrible job of it. He was too emotional and fixated on himself. And when Handanovic is at the back and he's captain, he's barking those orders to his defense, getting his defense where they need to be. He is a leader, and the players respect him for that. And we just saw the disintegration in our play when he wasn't there. So, look, obvious answer is Handanovic, but if we're excluding that, I would have said the Frey. But yeah, that's my answer, Anthony.
Very, very nice. Thanks, Bruno, and thank you very much for everyone for listening.
Guys, I have a question. Yeah. I have a question for you. Sorry. Oh, sorry, guys. You said we had just one question. I do have another question. So recently, our president said for the next year, we're going to keep our games. But my question is, would you sell and to make money and buy another couple of big or prospects? Would you do that or not?
So you actually cut out a little bit there, man, but I'm going to assume you said something along the lines of, would you sell Lautaro and Skriniar to fund other prospects? Is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. So it really depends on the price tag, man. So I'm starting to think about Lautaro's form recently, and I'm like, yeah, he's very, very young. He's very good. If he's trained properly, he really can be one of the best strikers in the world. So I don't want to sell him for anything. But then if a player comes along with if a club comes along with 110, 120 million, it is hard to refuse that kind of money. Skriniar, I think he's a world-class defender. I don't want him gone, Alessandro, for anything. I don't care if people say that he's not performing as well in the back three. I've seen enough from this guy to know that on his day, he can be one of the best defenders in the world, physically and emotionally. I think he's got that absolute mentality. I wouldn't sell Skriniar for 150 million euros. That's how good of a defender I think he is. So that's my answer. Bruno. Oh, sorry.
All right, Bruno, go for it. Let's say 110 for Lautaro, 80 for Skriniar. Bruno, will you accept or not?
Look, if Conte remains our manager, yes. Lautaro, he's a striker, but with Lukaku there, 110 million, I'd cash in Alexis Sanchez because he is doing well and he's got that connection with Lukaku. But that money will do us the great of good. Now, Inter's always had the problem where they don't get top dollar for their players. They release them too early or they release them too late. Look at Coutinho, for instance, right? Now, we've got this amazing player in the sense of Martinez, and you know what? I'm a fan of him on the field in the sense of how he plays, but I'm not a fan of his attitude. He's got too much of a mouth on him, and when things don't go his way, he acts up. And a striker should not be going through and halfway through the season already being suspended for 5 yellow cards, followed by a red card. So that's my opinion on Lautaro. I'd love to see him go if we're getting that type of money. Now, Skriniar is a bit different. Look, if they're offering around the ballpark of 100 to 110 million, I honestly would consider it. And hear me out, Anthony. I know you're not a fan of it, but we've got the Fry, we've got Godin for as long as who knows when he's on, but Bastoni has shown his worth as well. Now, I'm sure we can get another defender for a lot less than what we're selling Skriniar for. Now, this game is the world of football at the moment is one of money, and if you've got money, you've got power, and if you've got power, you win titles, you win cups. You look at Klopp with Liverpool. Look at Manchester City, what they've done. Look at PSG, look at Real Madrid, look at Barcelona, and look at Juventus, right? $200 million. We sell 2 players and we buy, an amazing player who's going to win us silverware. It's job well done. It is job well done. And I cannot disagree with that because at the end of the day, yes, they're great players. Yes, Skriniar, I wouldn't want to lose as much, but Martinez, strikers come and go, and he's had a great season. Should we cash in on him? 100%. Let's cash in on him. Use those funds. Get someone. Get. Even if we're not someone better, we've got the money to throw around when need be. That's been the issue with Inter for the last couple of years. We haven't had the money to throw around. Now, with Conte, with our amazing fans attending these matches and our sales of our players, we've got cash. Let's use it. Let's attract the big names. Let's get some stars here and let's win some titles. Let's win some trophies. That's my opinion.
Fair enough. And it's hard to argue with that if offers like that come along and money is power. Fair enough. Very good argument. All right, ragazzi, that's all we're going to have time for this evening. Plenty more stuff to come because plenty of matches to come. So, grazie. Alessandro, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Good night, everybody. Or good morning. Bye-bye.
And good night around the corner, Bruno.
Buonanotte a tutti. Forza Inter. And thank you for having us, Anthony.
Forza Inter worldwide. Ciao ragazzi.